Welcome to the Sims History Channel, where we run experiments on Sims because running them on humans is illegal. In this mashup series, we have 5 Sims based on the personalities of real historical people living in one house and doing pretty much as they please. I only direct them to do activities if they're whims, as illustrated by these balloons over the head of the game icon on the lower left corner shows that they want to do an action, and the game doesn't permit them to do it for themselves. The last 2 episodes we followed Madam C.J. Walker, the first American woman to become a self-made millionaire, and Bessie Smith, the Empress of the Blues, as she was called during her lifetime, and really still very often today. Today we're going to follow around one of our 2 Japanese ladies, Sei Shonagon, and this is her here. If you've been watching the earlier episodes, you'll see that I've changed Sei's and Murasaki's hair. There was some technical issue causing all of their highlights to be blonde, so I've had to change it a little. Now let me just take these walls down so that they won't get in the way of watching. And we're just going to follow Sei Shonagon around while I introduce her to you. And apparently what she's going to do today is sit and play games on the computer. I kind of enjoy it when they do that, but I know it's boring for you guys. I like the little anxious faces they make. Anyway, Sei served as a lady-in-waiting at the court of the Japanese emperor. Well, actually, she worked for the empress. And she wrote in detail about the lives of the people there. Yes, it is funny, Sei. She devoted a great deal of energy to raising her family's status at court, especially by trying to maneuver the men in her family into higher positions in government. That's what her society expected about expected of women in her position. So let's see what we have an option here. While riding the elevator, Madam CJ looks up from her phone to see the doors open and the CEO of the company walk in. Will Madam CJ say something to make an impression or keep quiet? And I think I told you in the last episodes that Madam CJ kept wanting to make money, so I got her a job. I don't do anything to control her at work, but of course here, in order to make these little things disappear, you have to make some choice. I think that Madam C.J. Walker would say something, so that's what she's going to do. Madam C.J. strikes up a conversation with the CEO, who ends up being quite friendly. It's nice to know that the company's leadership is still in touch with their workers. Isn't that nice? So anyway, Sei herself was extremely conscious of social status, and she actively scorned people of lower ranks. So I've given her the life aspiration, and you can see that here if you're not a simmer. Her life aspiration is to have a successful lineage. I've also given her, I'm going to pull up her little traits here, the snob trait, because of her self-consciousness about class. Because she talks an awful lot about keeping your appearance and your clothes and your hair and every little detail of your life in a very precise and very attractive order, I have made her have the neat trait. And because she was one of the great writers of all of Japanese history, I have made her creative. Now, it was actually pretty hard to decide what traits to give her, because I can only have 4. She had a great love for nature, and she also really enjoyed other people's misfortunes, so it would have been appropriate to use the traits loves outdoors or evil, but I would have to replace things with them, and in the end I decided that neat, snob, and creative were the most characteristic of her. Now, when I started up the game, I noticed that one of the girls, let's hope it's not Madam CJ, one of the girls wanted to meet someone. Good. Murasaki wants to catch a fish. Sei wants to meet someone new. Good. So we're going to use that as our excuse to go on the road, because I know by now if you've been watching, you're probably tired of hanging out in this house. And we're back, and now we're going to enjoy watching everybody hang out at the Apollo Lounge. We'll just see what Sei does. The lounge, if you haven't seen it before, was created by another simmer whose name I will put in the credits, or probably and I'll probably mention it to you. I'll get it during the next loading screen, and then I'll stick the name in here. So that you can know who it is. And this lounge I have done, I think, almost no changes in. I think the only thing I did was get rid of their TV. In general, you know, you might have oh, look at that. The Tiki God Spitfire. In general, I feel, oh, see, this is what I was talking about with the hair. Ever since I downloaded the new luxury pack, that new stuff pack, I've been having this issue happen with some of my hairs. What? Sei, how are you not getting along with Dorothy? She is like the most kind and wonderful person in the group. She never does anything mean. What is your problem? And oh, Murasaki's feeling flirty. Even though Bessie's not there. Anyway, so I've completely forgotten where I was and what incredibly important thing I was telling you. Oh yes, I was telling you that the Apollo Lounge is not my creation. And yet it's quite lovely. We have been recreating, or I've been recreating, New York in the 1920s and 30s as much as possible. So, okay, yeah. This is not period. They would have just had a phonograph or a band. And maybe the next time we do this, I'll get one. And I haven't managed to take all of the townies yet and put them into period clothes, but this guy is actually dressed in the clothes that I've chosen for him. He's one of the Sims that I've put together correctly, in my opinion. And both of these are ones I've put together. What? Seamus O'Flanagan? What are you doing with the bear hat? I did not give you a bear hat. That was not one of the things that I approved in your wardrobe. I have noticed, by the way, that in Sims 4 the Sims are more willful than I'm used to them being. So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about Sei Shonagon, and I'll give you some background into why I think about her the way that I do think about her. I'll give you some examples of her writing. Wait, where is she? Oh, there she is. Okay. Sometimes I'm kind of getting confused because she's not wearing her usual hair. And hey, she's not wearing her evening clothes either. What is wrong with that? Oh, I see. It's only 3 in the afternoon. Okay. Alright, so now she's getting along better with Dorothy. That's good. So anyway, I thought I would give you an example of what I mean by the kinds of characteristics that Sei Shonagon has. And I have to do this through her writing. We don't actually have any real pictures of Sei Shonagon, or of Murasaki for that matter. All we've got is their writing to go on. So I'm actually basing this character on the persona, the kind of personality that she, creates as she created as she was writing her pillow book, her diary. And the pillow book, I'm sorry to tell you, is not about all of her love affairs. It's a book made up of little sheets of paper that you could keep in your pillow at night, hence the name. So anyway, here she is talking about the dawn. Did she sneak away from me again? She did. Here she is talking about the dawn. Or about really talking about what's the most beautiful day, the most beautiful time of day. In spring, it is the dawn that is most beautiful. As the light creeps over the hills, their outlines are dyed a faint red, and wisps of purplish cloud trail over them. In summer, the nights, not only when the moon shines, but on dark nights too, as the fireflies flit to and fro, And even when it rains, how beautiful it is. In autumn, the evenings, when the glittering sun sinks close to the edge of the hills, and the crows fly back to their nests in 3s and 4s and 2s, more charming still is a file of wild geese, like specks in the distant sky. When the sun has set, one's heart is moved by the sound of the wind and the hum of the insects. So she really had a wonderful sense of the beauty of nature. Even though right now you're seeing her stamp her feet. Do they have a TV in there? It looks like they have a TV. We're going to get rid of that. Oh, no they don't. They do! No wonder they're all sitting around doing nothing. I'm going to take care of that, and there'll be a pause while I do the loading screen. So, back to business. So there's Sei. They're all upset because I've taken their TV, but I have found that Sims are much more interesting if you don't let them watch TV. See, look, they're even sulking right now. So anyway, this woman who writes this beautiful, passionate thing about poetry also writes things like this set of stuff about lovers and which are the most inconvenient. Or exactly, what is the best way for your lover to ask when he leaves? A lover who is leaving at dawn announces that he has to find his fan and his paper. That's like, finding your wallet. I know I put them somewhere last night, he says. Since it's pitch dark, he gropes about the room, bumping into the furniture and muttering, "Strange, where on earth can they be?" Finally, he discovers the objects. He thrusts the paper into the breast of his robe with a great rustling sound. Then he snaps open his fan and busily fans away with it. Only now is he ready to take his leave. What a charmless behavior. Hateful is an understatement. Equally disagreeable is the man. Oh, she's going to go do something mischievous. That's fun. What are you going to do? Oh, come on. Why does it keep trying to... Oh, there we go. What the heck? Wait for drink. Okay. So anyway, equally disagreeable is the man who, when leaving in the middle of the night, takes care to fasten the cord of his headdress, right? Takes care to... That's like being really careful to get your coat on straight or making sure your tie is perfect. This is quite unnecessary. He could perfectly well put it on gently on his head without tying the cord. And why must he spend time adjusting his cloak or his hunting costume? Does he really think someone may see him at this time of night and criticize him for not being impeccably dressed? No, a good lover will behave as elegantly at dawn as at any other time. He drags himself out of the bed with a look of dismay on his face. The lady urges him on. Come on, my friend, it's getting late. You don't want anyone to find you here. He gives a deep sigh, as if to say that the night has not been nearly long enough and that it's agony to leave. Once up, he does not instantly pull on his trousers. Instead, he comes close to the lady and whispers whatever was left unsaid during the night. Even when he's dressed, he still lingers, vaguely pretending to be fastening his sash. Right? So you can see what I meant about the kind of that neatness. She's got this very precise idea about the way the world should be run and the way people should act. And she kind of envisions everything as almost as a performance, right? Everybody is always on display, always acting for other people's opinions. Oh, look who's come. So these are some new Sims. This is my local flashy boy. I've got him dressed in the most extreme possible way you could get him dressed for the 20s. And, it's a little bit out there. I'm not going to deny that. He's dressed as if he's spent his whole life, at least I've tried to do that. He's dressed as if he's spent his whole life out in some Southeast Asian island. And then this fellow is also kind of flashy, but he's flashy in a way that is relatively normal for the early 20s. So he's got on this luxury party stuff. Anyway. There you go, Sei. Oh, yes. And look at this. You can see that I have the new Edwardian clothes that our beloved Kiara 24 has converted for us. That's pretty cool, too. And I've got that suit this fellow is wearing actually is a CC mesh from somebody who did who did a small recolor. Well, they say it's small. To me, it would be enormous. Who did a recolor of these suits? Anyway, here's what I mean by saying to you that Sei is a bit of a snob. Or actually, really a huge snob. It's very annoying. It's very annoying when one has visited Hei's temple and retired into its enclosure, right? She's gone to a Buddhist temple, to be disturbed by a herd of common people who come and sit outside in a row, crowded so close together that the tail of their robes fall over each other in complete disarray. I remember that once I was overcome by a great desire to go on a pilgrimage, and having made my way up the log steps, deafened by the fearful roar of the river, I hurried into my enclosure, longing to gaze upon the sacred consonants of the Buddha. To my dismay, I found that a pile of commoners had settled themselves directly in front of me, where they were incessantly standing up, prostrating themselves, and squatting down again. Now, this is actually how you say prayers. So, they're just acting exactly the way that they ought to. They're doing it in front of Sei. They're getting in her way. They looked like so many worms as they crowded together in their hideous clothes, hardly leaving an inch of space between themselves and me. I really felt like pushing them all over sideways. Important visitors always have a tendency to clear such pests from their enclosures, but it's not so easy for ordinary people like me. If one summons one of the priests who's responsible for looking after the pilgrims, he simply says something like, "You there, move back a little, won't you?" And as soon as he's left, things are as bad as before. So she's a very charming figure, very charming writer, but she is not the nicest person in the world. Let's see what's going on with her relationships with everybody. Let's see, it's 9 o'clock at night. Have we met any new people? Why, yes, she met Seamus and Mark. That's good. Oh, well, Madam CJ is here. We're going to bring her, is at home sheet? We're going to bring her here. And Bessie is home from work. She can come here too. What? And has Dorothy gotten to know anybody better? She's met somebody invisible named Tony. She's chatted with Seamus, and well, gosh, Dorothy is such a social butterfly. Look, she knows everybody. And Bessie. I love that look on Bessie's face, which she puts on. You see, she loves to dance. She's always doing that goofy dance that the Sims do. But does she ever, feel a desire to play any music? No. Great musician that she is, she ignores that opportunity all the time. But today we're following Sei, and we're going to follow her actions around for a while. Oh, Sei wants to meet yet another new person, so we're going to take her to a different venue. And we'll be back once we get there. Sei has woken up, and we can see what her desires are for today. Obviously, since the first thing she's doing is cooking for herself, what she wants most is to cook. And she apparently hasn't been doing very much of that because she's only just now gotten her cooking skill to level 2, even though in games time she's been playing for 5 or 6 days. So if she wants to talk to Dorothy, if she wants to play an instrument, she could do that autonomously. She doesn't need my help to do either of those things. 2 of the other girls are at work. Okay. At last, Bessie has found a real gig. That's right, I forgot I got Bessie a job, too. So, Bessie has found a real gig. Well, okay, it's amateur night, and pretty much anyone with a pulse can perform, but Bessie is officially on the list. Should she invite friends, or consider this a private test run? She should invite friends. Wow, what great friends Bessie has. Everyone was there. She bet no one laughed. Still, great friends. Oddly enough, none of those friends included her roommates. Oh, Sei, you look so sad. What's going on? Well, eat. You got food. Why don't you eat it? Is your food icky? Sims, I swear, they are so needy. And if, all of this wallpaper is custom content too. It's in the resources list. I put that at the end of my videos, and then I also have a link to my resources list in my Tumblr, which is exactly the same name as the channel, Professor Lilith. Is your food is that bad? Really? Seriously? Well, nobody can dance to stereo music until the phonograph. This was made by, this was put together by Iron Leo 78 before the phonograph has been fixed. So you're just going to have to fix it if you want to dance. Of course, when they are fixing these things, it's always a little nerve-wracking because, of course, if you've been watching The Sims for a while, you know that they have, when they are early in the game, they have terrible mechanical skills, and they're terribly likely to get themselves electrocuted while working. I love the way she's working on this little electronic, laptop thing to fix the phonograph. That's really cute. Oh, and she's reached handiness level 2. That's excellent. Now maybe she won't electrocute herself. I know this is kind of boring to watch, but I'm afraid to take my eyes off them when they're doing this stuff because any second they could get hurt. I'd like to fix the fridge, but apparently I've got a glitch where the fridge won't allow itself to be fixed at all. Well, look at that! You did a good job! It's all fixed! Oh, Dorothy seems pretty playful. Oh, what are you doing? She is trolling. She's trolling the forums. So she doesn't have any desire to do anything outdoor, anything someplace different. Oh, Murasaki wants to kiss somebody. That's sweet. And oh, Sei wants to compliment somebody. She never does that. Oh, and she is a neat sim. She does hate being around filth. So anyway, we're just going to watch her interact. I'm going to have to wait a couple of days to get a new fridge because, they can't afford one. Their bills are going to take up nearly all of this amount that's saved in. So unless some more of them decide that they want to get jobs, there's going to be an issue. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Sei. I didn't mean to be creeping in on you like that. Let's watch the maid try to clean the kitchen. He's just trapped here forever. She's still trolling the forums over here? No, she's just continuing to feel playful. Oh, what's Sei doing now? Oh, now she's dancing. Look at that. She got her little bit of dancing done. And what does she want to do? Oh, she wants to play a prank. Flash crazy eyes. See, she's always got these mischief desires, and I've never, whenever I look at her, half the time she's got a desire to do something mischievous. Oh, it's so hard being the only neat sim in the house. It really is. She's constantly cleaning up after the other girls. So she wants to tell a joke. Okay, so what's she doing now? She's got her... What? What? She has a job? When did she get a job? APM queen? Play video... No? Okay, well, I'm just going to treat this as her autonomously getting a job. Even though I think the game engine actually did that. So we're going to pause. In fact, since we've got so much video here already, we're going to stop, and when we come back, we'll follow Dorothy West around, and that should be pretty fun. If you liked the video, it would be awesome if you could hit a like or pass it on, and it would be especially nice if you could remember it now and then to say a thank you to the people who make the custom content and the builds, because they've done a lot of work for me. Thank you.